Hello, everybody.
Ira?
You're always first, Ira.
How's it going? We talked a little bit to Coach Norvell about Keyshawn's decision making, and so on I guess that punter had not shown the ability to put the ball. I mean,
He was averaging about 40 yards a punt going into the game. So, game plan wise, we had him at about starting the game. About 44 was the plan, and then we moved him up a little bit, and then obviously the ball got kicked over his head, and that was a huge flip in the field position.
Then if you can expound a little bit also on the, and I know it's changed in the last, it seems like 10 years or so, where I think there's a perception that you're supposed to fair catch or let anything be inside the 10-yard line bounce. How much of that decision making is on the return guy, and what is there a drop deadline?
So we've changed the parameters on that a little bit. You know, punters have gotten so much better at being able to control the spin on the ball, location, all the influence of the Australian punters in the game. You know, there's a lot more backspin that punters have the ability to put on the ball. So we've kind of changed our thought on that a little bit. Generally speaking, we say the 7 is where his heels are, but if it has good enough hang time where he feels like the gunners or the ends on our opponent's team are down there in a position to possibly pin it inside the 5. He has, like, that decision he made at catching at the 6 on that last series. I had that, to me, that was the right move, just because of the time and space on where their gunners were and how high the ball was in terms of their chance to down it inside the 5.
We could just go have coffee. When Ryan's had some misses, have they been more technical in nature, or is there anything else you could point to?
Yeah, I mean, the two this past week I thought were very technical in nature, and it's just something that we got to obviously address throughout the course of the week, and he's aware of, and there's some things we can clean up. I was happy though that he came back and responded, later, after missing a PAT and then missing a field goal, and that was a critical kick because it made it a 1-possession game. So I thought that was a good response by him.
On the kickoff returns, are they close? And is it usually 1 or 2 little missed blocks that are not freeing those things up?
Yeah, generally speaking, I mean, the guys have done a nice job in terms of assignments and getting on the correct people. Now it's a matter of finishing blocks, and I think to your point, to echo a little bit of what you said, it is usually one here or there that prevents a big play from happening. But that's why you don't see a lot of them across the country on a weekly basis. It's just everything has to kind of fall right. You got to get the right kick. You got to get all 10 guys getting their hats on the correct people, and you got to find the seam and hit it. And we're not far away from getting that done, but like I said last week, close doesn't really cut it when it comes to the return game. And we got to find a way to put it all together. I've been fairly pleased with our coverage units to this point, but we got to make sure that we feel like we're impacting games in both return phases.
Switching gears to defensive ends, second half when the defense surged and had the kind of showing they did, a lot of Quayshawn Fuller and Derek McClendon out there. Just how have those guys progressed with the fact that you guys keep putting more and more on them, but also you have guys ahead of them who alleviate some pressure?
Sure. I've been really pleased with the development of Derek and Quayshawn. There were guys that we felt good about in this offseason, heading into the season, but they didn't have a ton of game experience. And, I think each week they've gotten a little bit better. Specifically in Derek's case, I mean, I tell him every week, and I think I said this last week, and I think it's worth reiterating, the guy works really, really hard in practice, and it's translating. And, I hope that's something that all the young defensive linemen and really players on our defense in general see that there is a direct correlation between what you put in on the day-to-day and the progress that you see on the field. And, Derek's a great example of that.
Back to Ira.
I know it's probably a lot to ask a defensive lineman to make catches in space, but how well did Kier read that play, and how well has he been playing?
Kier played his best game this past week. I mean, I felt his impact throughout the course of the game. Very first play of the game, did a great job feeling the naked and getting out in front and hurrying. I think he had 3 hurries on the game. And I say this, he did a great job of filling the screen. I think it's killing him that he didn't finish the play. It's something that I know he's been beating himself up on. And if, it's one of those things that I think if it happened 10 times, he probably would have caught it. But, it's a reaction play from a defensive lineman that doesn't be put in that situation very much. And I have total faith and confidence in everything that he's doing. And, I hate that he feels that way, but that's what makes him who he is, because he takes great ownership in his role and responsibility on the team.
And then the way you guys have played up front seems to be the strength. Well, it's probably not for you. May not want to say it because it's your group, but the defensive front has played really well. And Coach Norvell said the forcing unit has played really well. Have you been impressed by the way they haven't? Sometimes when things aren't working behind them, sometimes guys try to do too much or get overly aggressive, things like that. How have they handled that, and how have you just appreciate the way they've played, I guess?
Yeah, no, I've appreciated their maturity, and there's really a lot of guys that to speak to on that. I mean, I think starting with the older guys, Jermaine and Kier, but also the Robert Coopers, the Dennis Briggs, the Fabian Lovitz, the guys that have played a lot of football here and are older and a little bit more mature, and they've seen a lot. I think they understand the value of, number one, preparation, the value in working hard in practice, and then that level-headedness that is necessary throughout the course of a game. You're going to have your ups and downs, and I think the one thing that I've appreciated about this defensive line group is, regardless of circumstance in the game, they don't seem fazed by what's happening. First series of Notre Dame, first series of the season, first series of the game, we give up a score, they were ready to come right back. We've been down in some games, they've responded. So, and I think that's who they are as men, and I think it's a lot of it's a reflection of just the maturity that they have as a group.